Before time began, there was no sky to look upon, no earth to stand on, no sound, no shape, no waiting. Only silence so complete it felt endless. And then, in a moment no mind can fully comprehend, everything changed. What if everything you see began with just one command? Not a process, not a struggle, not a collision of chance, but a voice speaking reality into existence. This is the beginning of all beginnings. This is how the world was created in 6 days. In the beginning, there was nothing but God. No universe stretching into the distance. No stars scattered like dust across the dark. No oceans, no land. Only divine presence, complete, sovereign, and without limit. And then, the first act of creation began. Let there be light. A command so simple, yet so powerful that existence itself responded. Light appeared where there had never been light before. Not from the sun, not from fire, but directly from the will of God. And in that instant, darkness was no longer absolute. Light and darkness now stood apart, defined, separated, named. And as the first day came to a close, something extraordinary had already happened. Time had begun, but this was only the beginning. On the second day, the silence of creation shifted. The waters that had no boundary began to move under divine command. And above them, something invisible yet real was formed. A vast expanse separating the waters below from the waters above. The sky was born. Not a sky filled with clouds or birds yet, but a structure of order, space, and divine design. And God called it heaven. The universe was no longer a void. It was becoming structured, layer by layer, purpose by purpose. And yet the earth was still waiting. Something even greater was about to unfold. On the third day, the waters gathered. At God's command, the seas were formed, oceans stretching into depths unknown. And where water retreated, dry ground appeared for the very first time. Land rose from what had once been a boundless ocean. And then, from that same voice that shaped the seas, life began to stir beneath the surface. Let the earth bring forth vegetation. Suddenly, the barren ground responded. Grass emerged. Plants broke through the soil. Trees stretched upward, as if reaching toward their creator. Seeds existed for the first time, carrying within them the mystery of future generations. A world once empty was now alive with growth, color, and rhythm. But creation was still incomplete, and something in the heavens was preparing to shift again. On the fourth day, the universe received its lights. God placed brilliant lamps in the sky, not just for beauty, but for order. The sun was set to govern the day. The moon was set to govern the night. And the stars, countless, unmeasured, infinite, were scattered across the heavens like quiet witnesses to creation's unfolding story. For the first time, time had rhythm. Days could be measured. Seasons could be marked. Nights were no longer identical voids, but illuminated with purpose. And above it all, the universe now had direction. Yet even with light above and life below, creation was still preparing for something more. Something was missing. Something was coming alive next. On the fifth day, the waters began to move with life. From the depths of the seas, living creatures emerged, large and small, seen and unseen. Every motion of the ocean now carried breath, instinct, and wonder. Above the earth, the skies were filled with movement as birds took their first flight. Wings stretched into air that had been waiting for them since the beginning. The universe that was once silent was now filled with sound, motion, and life in abundance. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply." Life was no longer potential. Life was active, but the earth still waited for its highest expression of creation. Something even more profound was about to appear. On the sixth day, the earth itself was invited into a deeper purpose. Creatures of every kind began to walk upon the land. Wild animals, livestock, creatures of every shape and design. The ground was now alive with movement. But then came a moment that changed everything. A pause, a silence unlike the others, as if creation itself was holding its breath. And then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness." In that moment, something entirely new was formed. Not just life, but identity. From the dust of the ground, humanity was shaped. And into that form, God breathed life. Not just breath for survival, but breath for consciousness, emotion, purpose, and connection. Man and woman were created. Unlike anything before them, they carried something of the Creator within them. They were placed in a world already prepared, filled with beauty, order, and abundance. And they were given responsibility to care, to steward, to live in harmony with creation. And God looked at everything He had made, and it was very good. And so, the heavens and the earth were completed in 6 days. From nothing to everything, from silence to song, from emptiness to life overflowing. Each day revealed not chaos, but a single command. And this is how everything began, from nothing into everything.